So the big question is, am I hooked on hooked? Let's find out. I love me some lobster. I love me some oysters. I love me some crabs. Yes, I was so excited to go to Hooked Seafood. It's a new concept restaurant on Royal Caribbean. We were really excited about trying this one out. I'm from Long Island, so that's the New England area of New York, and I just grew up with this type of stuff and I love it. So I was really excited about taking a look at this restaurant. So this is a little bit more of an in-depth review about this restaurant. I hope you enjoy it, but before we get into it, I would like to ask all of you folks to please subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel. It's a new place. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell on. This way you get notified whenever I put up new stuff here and you will get to see it first. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that notify bell on, and hit that like button. Thanks in advance. So one of the main things why I booked Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas was because of Hook Restaurant. I'm a fanatic of seafood. When I grew up in towns with the word port in it, I went crabbing in my lifetime. I went clamming in my lifetime. There was lobster shacks nearby me, so we were really excited about trying Hooked. So we went there not just once, we went there two times. Once for lunch, once for dinner. We went to lunch on the sea day and we went to dinner the following night. And it was a pretty darn good restaurant. I really have to give them kudos for this. Everything tasted pretty darn good. There was a couple of exceptions and we'll get into that. But overall, the place was pretty darn good. So let's get into the review section of this and we'll start off with the appetizers. Everybody knows seafood makes a great appetizer. It's light, it's refreshing, the lemon flavors, it's just a perfect way to start any meal. And the folks at Hook did a really great job in giving us really good appetizers. We enjoyed them immensely. The shrimp cocktails that my wife had, she enjoyed that. I had the ceviche. It wasn't a traditional Mexican ceviche, so if you're looking for that, this is not the thing you want to get, but it was pretty darn good. I also had the soft shell crabs, which were deep fried. They were perfect. My kids say I call it the potato chips of the sea. It's delicious. I really enjoyed the soft shell crabs. So, but the star is, of course, the oysters, right? The oysters, everybody goes to Hook to try out the oysters. The oysters were very good. They were nice. They were fresh. They were a little bit on the smaller side. They weren't the giant-sized oysters. They were about, small to medium-sized one. And another little thing, get to Hooked early if you are on a ship that has Hooked on there because they ran out of oysters. So if you want to try oysters and you want to go to Hook, go earlier in your cruise and you won't be disappointed then. But again, all very good. The appetizers kind of kicked off the meal really well at Hooked. For lunch, we decided to go with the typical New England fare type of lunch. My son and myself, we had the messy fish sandwich. It was absolutely delicious. It lives up to its name. You're going to need that bib. The cod was very flaky. The fry on the fish was perfect. It was, it was not overly greasy, but everything remained crispy. The dressing, the tartar sauce dressing, along with the coleslaw, was a perfect combination. That brioche bun was really to die for. You're gonna love that messy fish sandwich. Get it, especially for lunch. Now, on the other hand, my wife and our aunt, they decided to go with the lobster roll. They both really like lobster. Anyway, the lobster roll was adequate at best. What was happening there was the dressing got very watery. We weren't sure if they didn't kind of drain the lobster well enough and then added the dressing, causing it to be watery, but it really made it kind of unappetizing. It kind of drenched the bun a little bit, making it very kind of mushy in texture. So hopefully they can get that straight. It wasn't the best lobster roll out there. It was adequate, but it definitely wasn't the best. For dinner, a majority of us, 4 out of the 5, decided to go with the lobster. Now, the lobster is not a traditional boiled lobster that you would find in a normal seafood shack in New England. It's a little different. They have some crab meat on there that's stuffed into the half lobster, along with some cheese, and then it's baked underneath, some sort of salamander in the kitchen. It was good. It was very flavorful. The flavors were really good. It was different. It's not the typical thing, though, that I usually like when I get my lobster. I just prefer boiled lobster, just crack the thing open, dip it in the drawn butter, and just go to town on it. But it was still very good. If you like lobster, Try this out. It's a really good meal. Now, on the other hand, my wife, who was the only person who decided not to do the lobster, decided to go with her old faithful in the salmon. Now, the salmon was a little bit dried out. It was a little overcooked on the grill. You might need to just let the folks know, please don't overcook the salmon. It can dry out pretty darn fast if you don't do it right. So just so you know, make sure if you're going to get the salmon, let them know that you don't want it to be overly cooked, and maybe you can prevent an over-dried salmon like my wife received. Real quickly on the sides, the one you're going to want to get is the lobster mac and cheese. Absolutely delicious. Huge chunks of lobster, great mac and cheese, perfect combination. Everything else, it's the typical New England style sides that you would get at any kind of seafood shack. The corn on the cob, the coleslaw, all very good, just typical. But remember, get that lobster mac and cheese. It's really good. Finally, let's talk a little bit about desserts. Now, this is where most of our disappointment kind of came with Hooked. Nothing was bad. I'm going to start off with that. Nothing was bad. Really, how bad can desserts be, right? But anyway, it was just a little odd, right? A coconut cream pie, really? For a New England style type of dessert? Where's Indian porridge? Where is a Boston cream pie? Cherry pie, really? How about an apple pie? These are the type of things that was just kind of more perplexing than anything. Now the brownie was delicious, and that's really more typical New England, right? The Toll House cookies, those type of things. And the brownie was really good, but it was really, really dense, and you really have to be on a chocolate kick at that time. But in general, my question is, why those choices, right? Again, everything was good, but if you're doing New England, do New England. So that's my only question about the desserts. Let's go with like that Indian porridge. Let's go with a Boston cream pie. Let's go with an apple pie. That's New England, not a cherry pie. That's Maryland. Overall, Hooked is a really good restaurant. Definitely go take a look at Hooked when you're on a Royal Caribbean ship that does have it. You won't be disappointed, especially during lunch. The messy fish sandwich is to die for. It's really, really good. The appetizers are very, very good. There were some things that we were kind of questioning, like choices for desserts. There was also a little bit of snafus here and there, a little bit of a watery lobster roll, and a little bit of an overcooked salmon, but those things can get fixed. So in general, very good restaurant, worth the price of admission. Go to Hooked when you got the opportunity to on Royal Caribbean. You won't be disappointed. I would give it a solid 4 stars. That's it, my friends. That's my little review about Hooked at Royal Caribbean. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, always seek the seas. Bye now.